Hello, I'm back again, and this time I'm going to look at how the planet descriptions are created in Elite. So I'll start off with an example of what Lave looks like. Close this down, delete run, launch there. I'm just going to F1 it, and it comes up with Lave is most famous for its vast rainforests and Lave tree grub. So what I've done is taken the algorithm for generating the planet description and put it into Excel. Here you see the seed from the galaxy for Lave, which then gets selectively picked for 4 values to generate the seed. Here's the hex values so you can match them up on screen. So for the random number, we start initially with taking the seed A and then multiplying it by 2, which is shifting to the left. As it is an 8-bit value, I've got an AND in there for 255 to make sure it doesn't carry over. Of course, in the actual calculation, there is use of carry flag, so I have to consider that if it was greater than 127, it would have generated a carry. So seed variable B is just the value of the original multiplied by 2. I then add together the multiply by 2, include it in there, seed C, and add in the carry flag. And of course, again, as it can only be an 8-bit value, I AND it with 255. Here is some logic for an additional carry flag. So it takes the value in B, considers then C again, and J6 the carry, and says if that is greater than 256, then there would have been a carry. And then I have a alternative B register on this path to generate a next random number, which is purely taking B6. Then there's an add again, because it's an add with carry. It takes B6, which is seed B, takes D6, which is seed D, adds to it the carry flag, and then of course ensures that it's only an 8-bit value. That results in seed A being the first add with carry, seed B being the second add with carry, seed C being the multiplier by 2, and seed D being the calculation here of B, the D being the value from N6, which is here, which is B6, which is here, and it's the seed. The result then is actually the value from B, the seed B, and that's what's returned in the A register, whatever you call a random number. This is the hex equivalent here of that value. Now, the result of this is you need to degenerate an option between 1 and 4. So initially you start with a value 0. So if the resultant hex value is greater than or equal to 33 hex, you add 1 to option. If it's greater than or equal to 66 hex, add another 99 CC, and there's the result. So for instance, you see here that hex 29 is less than 33, so it will never hit the other conditions and result in a 0. 3D is greater than 33, so it will result in a carry through of 1. As you can see here, it just adds 1 to the previous value of my calculation. A5, greater than 33, also greater than 66, also greater than 99, but not greater than CC, etc., all the way through to the likes of DB, which is greater than CC, results in a 4. So now we have a series of random numbers. We need to turn that into a string of text. The initial seed value, and I've taken these values from the logic in the new kind port of Elite, is that initially it starts off with 14 is 22, and the less than greater than symbols, chevrons, are the IDs it uses to say this is a numeric token coming up next. So in the code, it has to take that number, convert it from ASCII into a numeric value for the lookup. The table used is this table here of descriptive text. I've just used an ID here to make sure you've got the table entry. That actually means null string. And as you see, you've got some recursive expansions through the strings. So for instance, you've got 21 earthquakes, 21 solar activity, its inhabitants 24, 25 and 4. Going through the process, the important one we first hit is actually here. This is where it starts off on the 70 region. And I'll go through how that's calculated in a second. And you go through a whole series of processes here. So if I go up to here, what initially it does is process the string, strips off the first token it finds. This is simplified a little bit to explain an Excel spreadsheet. So initially it's 14 is 22. So I'm going to put down here, just a reference there, 14 is 22. So it takes 14, takes that token, multiplies it by 5. I've got my random number, which will generate an option. And I will look up in this table here 70 plus the option. So 70 equates to %H. Now the algorithm works on %H is a direct expansion of the name of the planet, which will expand to Lave. So now I have an output of Lave is token 22. So I then know my next token is 22. So I go through this iteration again. Token is 22, multiplied by 5. My random number on my next random number in the table was 61, which gives us an option of 1 in the result. That processes through, so I go to 110 plus 1, which is 111, which then gives us 1, 0, 4, 9 and 9. Hopefully that's what it says. 1, 0, 4, 9 and 9. So it takes the next token is 1 because it's there. Goes through there, multiplies out of 5, finds an option there of 2, which gives us 7, which is most. So most 0, 4, 9 and 9 because it's still got to process this rest of the tokens. So the next comes the tokens is 0, adds a 3 to it, which gives us famous for 9 and 9. So then the Lave is now most famous for, and the expansion gives us its 2, 3. Notice that's the insertion of the 9 because you've still got further tokens. So it's 2, 3 and 9. Lave is most famous for its vast, 3 and 9. Vast then gives a token of 3, which translates to 19 forests, so it inserts that token, and 9. So that expands out to rainforests and 9. So 9 processes to I%, which 23, 24. The I% is an expansion of the planet name. I've got to check my code because I'm not sure if it's Lavian or Lave, so I'll double check that later. And then expands to the Lave 23, 24. In terms of tree here, it goes to Lave tree, expands out 24, interestingly, to a 17. So you can have recursive tokens as well, and the token 17 translates to Lavian tree grub. I have now got it through into the code. So I'm going to delete run to run my version of code. I now have a break statement because I'm using Spec to stop it processing. So I'm going to move to, I'm going to go down the code a little bit. I've got a little bit of preamble code here that expands the name out into the options just to make it a little bit more efficient in the main loop and not recalculating the planet name again. C galaxy, expansion of the text there. So I'm now into the recursive loop. So I'm going to go to memory galaxy planet description, which is currently blank, which is also used in the address in the register IY. I've also got 0x f2b1, which is the current working string for expansion. So this pass, I'm just going to go through that. So I go through here, expand the address out, select token, call recursive. So when I call recursive, it's going to expand recursive through there. loop through. Is it an I? No. Process H symbol, JP recursive. So go through here, processing this text here, looping through. And in fact, I'm going to go through here and show you that all it does is it goes, Lave is most famous for its vast forests and Lave tree grub. So what I'll do now is run it again, expand it out to full screen, and I will point to galaxy planet description, which is the target location to put the string into so you can see it formed. So first off, I'm taking the planet source and put it to planet description to there, and you can actually see down here that is where it expands to. Go through here, I set my seeds up, and I'm going to call expansion HL to DE, inc HL, call selective token, call expansion recursive. Go through here, process H symbol, and you can see the Lave. I will move down a little bit. Lave there. JP's expansion complete. Go through there. CP25, regular character, and there's the space marker. You can see there, gets I, get it is. So now I know that I'm coming down to here, and that puts a 0 marker on there. Come up next. Processing the random seed, which gives us a seed there. Gives us the options. So now we have DE equal to E is the table, and 1 is the option offset on that table. So multiply by 10 because it's 2 bytes for an address. Return there. Loop through the code. And there's expanding the word mostly. If I go there, famous. The way the recursive works is it pushes the current HL pointer to the string onto the stack, and then on exit it pulls it back so it knows where the address pointer is, which is a running pointer of lookup tables. So what I'll do is when I hit the next expansion, I'll show that happening. So HL is a galaxy description list. So M0X EAAE. As you can see there, it's 2.3. So I will go through there. That is expansion. It's going to expand that out now. And I'm going to go to 0x EAB1, 2 and 3 as it's moving forward through that. It's going to eventually get to the point where it needs to read a token and expand that. So my token is currently held in D, which is 2. I'm going to do a random number generator, go through my options, and end up with D equals 3. So it takes 2 with the option of 3 from the seeds, does the offset address, and then results in 0xEF34, which is completely rubbish because it's actually 68 there. And I'm going to go to an expansion arena surface and 0x968 vast. There we go. I got my most. As I say, I'm doing this all live as I go along here. I'm not actually pre-prepping anything for this. I thought I'd just do it as I go along. So it's a little bit rough and ready. So I thought I'd focus time on actually doing some development rather than spending time prepping lots of videos. So going through processing here. I'm going to go to Galaxy Planet Desk. Of course, it's Galaxy Planet Description. So we've got to vast and expanding that out, processing through here. I'm just going to go through a little bit of pace. And there it started the rainforest, as shown in Excel. And the Lavian, that's where I've got a bug because it does actually expand to Lavian, but then I've got an area in my code which actually sets the seed back. So I'm just going to go back to that and have a look at what's going on. So I think I know what's happening. So if I go through here, it's expanding out. So let's actually go through and see where it's at. So it goes to A, Lave, and it loads into D, the address, Inkhair, JR Galaxy copy loop. So it's expanding out. It goes through there. Loads DE into IY and IL for the pointer. Gets A65, which is, I think, as I'd expect, is, let's do a quick check. That is 69 there, which is hex 69, which is 105. Quick going to Google. Go through here, type Google badly. ASCII 105, which is letter I. So it's expanding out, moving through there. Of course, what I've done is I've done that expansion, load Lavian, and of course the working parameter is actually IY. So what I really should do is expand and pop it off, and actually add in 3 characters that which will expand it properly. So I just move IY on by 3 to consider the IAN. So I then go to JP recursive, expansion complete, tree grub. And there we get the final bit forming the lookups, the reference, and then grub. I'm just going to F1 to complete that. So what I'll do is I'll fix that now. So if I go into my logic for the code here, and I look for percent symbol, so here's the expansion percentage. If it's not H, it must be an I. If it's not an I, then it definitely has to be an R. So then I've got a little routine called process I symbol, which stacks HLD and BC, gets the copy, makes a copy of the address IY and IL into D&E, processes through there, expands out, increments, exchanges DL to HL, goes to HL, inc HL, moves in, gets through the end. So actually, HL has been moved to the correct location. So what I'm going to do that in this case is push HL, pop IY. So I'm now setting IY to consider that I actually added IAN. Let's save that off. And let's just see what happens. So I go for my elite build, elite run, choose here. So it's either going to be good or it's going to be a crashing horror. Let's see what happens. Lavian tree grub, it worked. That will do for now. Okay, so I'll go on to assume the next bit is the market screen, which I did a little tweak to. So at the moment it assumes you're docked, so just added the ability to buy and sell correction and logic so that it could also go to your maximum cargo capacity of 20 tons currently. Also in the original game logic for items which is kilos and grams, you can only have a maximum of 200 units of a non-tonnage. So I'll just go through doing that. As I say, numbers are going up, calculating up, nearly there, and hit 200. To handle the cursor, I'm just setting the attributes for the background, which on a layer 1, which means it doesn't disrupt layer 2 screen. I've also got text in layer 1, so I can then just move the attribute up and down. And then when it updates, I just force the current row number as an offset to redraw that line completely. And then at the same time is I've got a little routine in there that calls off to refresh the cargo and the cache values. So it's fairly rudimentary. Doesn't require a lot of heavy processing during this screen, so I can afford to be fairly general purpose. Okay, I think that will do now. Bye for now.